wave on the sorry about that.
I think whenever you are ready.
Okay. I was saying, can we, since everybody's already sitting over there, that way they don't have a bigger crowd, can we just move the
I ain't never trafficked no damn cocaine. I smoke cocaine. Tell the truth, Grandma. I smoked it. I didn't see traffic shit. Millions of dollars on cocaine.
Yeah, from somebody else's case, and then they put me in prison.
thing, because the thing wasn't happening here already. Yeah, so like we talking about airport time, like, damn, we like that.
You know what's pushing?
So what's your brother is your dad?
It's great to have such a good crowd out here. We have the Facebook Live
Streaming right now.
People are, I think, welcome to stand where you are and take a seat in our seats. But we'll get started.
Do you want to go?
Yeah.
Where are we supposed to sit right here?
Yeah.
Okay, the people see us back here? They gonna see the back of our head?
They see you right now if you face this way. If y'all want to use the microphone to get out the traffic noise, it might be helpful for folks listening online. Is there a microphone with the system?
Microphone. Hold on a minute.
Comes with everything.
Yeah. Brand new.
Look at that.
Ain't even never been opened.
Oh, you good.
Three, check. Oh, yeah, go there. Check 1, 2, 3. Check.
All right. So thank you everyone for coming out today. My name is Christy Puckett Williams, and I'm with the ACLU of North Carolina. I am the statewide Campaign for Smart Justice Manager. And the Campaign for Smart Justice was started because we recognize that mass incarceration in this country has become a real issue, a significant issue, and a barrier to racial justice here in this country. And so we took the fight to the streets, quite literally, to the courtrooms, and to the General Assembly. And we've had some successes. But what we know is that the grassroots radical displays of love, the ways that we come together, are the real ways in which we shift not just the narrative, but the momentum around these issues. And so last year when we came out, it was on a blip ribbon. We were just like, we should just go sit down in front of the governor's house because we were sick and tired of the lack of action. And we named that violent inaction, where it gives like the appearance of people doing things, but nothing's really happening. And so in order to confront that, we decided to sit out here for 58 days. And on day 44, we were successful in securing the pardons for 5 North Carolinians who were wrongfully incarcerated. And as a result of that momentum, thank y'all. As a result of that momentum, we recognize what we always really knew, that the power of the people is much more powerful than those of the elected. And that when we come together, we can really force people to do the right thing. And so that's why we're here again today, because North Carolina still has about 30,000 people incarcerated during the pandemic. Most of the people in North Carolina who are incarcerated are women. Over half are black people, even though black people don't represent half of our state's population. Is that by chance? No, it's by design. And so we are working to deconstruct what was worked so hard on to architect and to construct. And so part of the disruption and the agitation that we seek, is that Governor Cooper right there leaving? Is that you, Roy? Let our people go! Let our people go! Let them go! Let our people go! Free them all! Free our people! Let our people go! And so that's the type of energy that we bring every single day at the Vigil, where we confront system actors who have become so complacent and so comfortable with the restriction of people's agency and autonomy and the restriction of liberties. And so we are here to say that people deserve to be free. People deserve to re-enter society in ways that aren't harmful, in ways that promote community, healthy interaction, and in ways that are sustainable. We have to admit that locking people up is just not sustainable. Our prisons are crumbling. We don't have enough people to work inside of the prisons to keep people safe. We don't have enough resources that we're willing to allocate, because we have the resources, but we're not willing to allocate them in ways that promote, what is it called? Department of Corrections? Corrections and rehab. But none of that happens in those spaces, because what we've become comfortable with is a retributive nature, where we are looking to punish people and to get a pound of their flesh every single day, even in the midst of a pandemic. So we're out here again in solidarity, standing with the over 30,000 people who are incarcerated in North Carolina today, but we're also here to celebrate the victories that we've had along the way. And in case you didn't know, today, the Dignity for Incarcerated Pregnant Women Act goes into effect here in North Carolina, where women will no longer be shackled for the second or third trimester of their pregnancy, where they will have their prenatal care regulated, the nutritional needs will be regulated, and they will also have the ability to visit with their children for much longer than what they are now. And so, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming over the next 32 days. Thank you to those who have been in Vigil over the last 70 days for really getting it kicked off for us to start this year off strong, and we appreciate your solidarity. And now we're going to bring my grandma, your grandma, everybody's grandma, up here to read the letter that we sent to Governor Cooper. Grandma?
Thank you so much. I'm going to enjoy reading this letter to the governor. Dear Governor Roy Cooper, on behalf of the coalition of the calling for justice, fairness, and second chances for people incarcerated in our state prisons, especially Black people and other people of color, we are writing to explain why we are returning this year to stand in vigil outside of the Executive Mansion beginning at 9 a.m. on December the 1st, 2021, which is today. We stand vigil to call for decisive actions to decarcerate North Carolina and stop the use of imprisonment as a catch-all response to societal harms, which is consistent with the recommendations of your Task Force for Racial Equity and Criminal Justice, TREC. We hold vigil to advocate for the immediate release of those who are ill, elderly, those in prison for technical violations of parole, and those who are incarcerated as children, as well as to commute the death sentences of those on death row whose trials were unconstitutionally affected by racial bias. Last year, we hosted the Vigil for the Freedom and Racial Justice, standing in vigil for 58 days. We are returning this year because not enough has been achieved to implement the task force's crucial recommendations. TREC heard and reported on the unjust and racial ways our state's criminal legal system routinely dehumanizes, exploits, harms, and even kills. A humanitarian and public health disaster has been unfolding in our state's jails, courts, and prisons for decades. The COVID-19 pandemic and severe understaffing in our state's prisons have only excavated the cruel treatment and dangerous conditions of incarcerated people in North Carolina. We stand Vigil again this year because the implementation of the task force's recommendations, which would make North Carolina safer for all of its residents, has not been prioritized. The Department of Public Safety, DPS, remains unable to adequately staff its prisons, leaving incarceration as one of the only viable solutions to this mounting crisis. Substantial decarceration will provide equity and fairness for incarcerated North Carolinians and their families, while at the same time reducing the prison population to a level that the DPS is able to staff safely. We stand vigil in solidarity with approximately 30,000 mostly black people currently incarcerated in state prisons across North Carolina. Over the next 32 days, we will uplift the names, faces, families, carceral experiences, cries for help, and hopes of these people. We will incarcerate in state prisons. Indeed, the lives of all people incarcerated in state prisons. In September, the Prison Policy Initiative released a report that shows more people per capita are incarcerated in North Carolina than in any country in the world other than the United States. In November, a report from the Sentencing Project found North Carolina to be one of 12 states in which more than half the prison population is black. North Carolinians deserve to know how poorly our state compares to the rest of the country and to the world. We stand vigilant to memorialize the individuals who have died from COVID-19 in state custody. People like Faye Beatrice Brown, who was born just one country over and 4 years earlier than you, Mr. Governor. Faye entered Raleigh Correctional Center for Women at age 22 in 1975 and was among the first individuals in state prisons to lose her life to COVID at age 67. Faye was so much more to her family, friends, and our community than the nameless offender in her late 60s, whose death DPS announced in an impersonal press release. North Carolinians deserve to know Faith's story and the human cost of COVID in our prisons so that we can end these senseless deaths. Finally, we stand vigilant in the hope that our governor, you will be moved to moral leadership over more than 30 years as a state representative, senator, and attorney general. You have been part of a system that led North Carolina down a path of mass incarceration. As our governor, you have the extraordinary ability to use your executive and constitutional powers to decarcerate our prisons and redress racial inequities. We applaud the steps taken so far to exercise those powers, including the formation of the Juvenile Sentencing Review Board. But this is not enough. We're asking you to leave no stones unturned in the fight to address the unfairness and racial inequities in our criminal legal system. We would welcome the opportunity to provide additional information about steps that other states have taken towards these goals, as well as assistance in achieving them. In May 2020, you said, Black lives do matter. We hope that you value the lives of all Black Carolinians, including Black men, who make up the majority of those in our prisons. As our state's governor, it is time to put your words into action to end incarceration and adequately protect people from a brutal, insidious system. If your staff or security needs to communicate with our coalition on any issues related to our vigil and actions requests, please contact Christy Bucket Williams at KWILSACLUOFNC.org, or call her on the phone. She's always available. She carries her phone with her even to the bathroom. 704-352-9392. And all I have to say is freedom. Free all. Freedom all. Free her. Free him. Free them. Free the families. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is this your grandma? It's everybody's grandma.
Everybody, grandma, universal grandma. Okay. Everybody needs one of those. Yes. Need him too. Yes.
I know it.
Good afternoon, everybody. And I'm so honored to be standing here with you again this year. I was with you last year as you started your 58-day vigil right here in this very space, and it was very effective and did gain the ear of the governor of the state, and there were some pardons that were received. We are just off of 70 days of keeping vigil right around the corner. And soon and very soon, we are going to deposit the tent that we're using at this space to signal to the governor that we're still here with more ammunition. And as we continue to move forward together, we are going to continue to proclaim the very things that we need to proclaim in his ear. Now, to me, the tent has represented what I'm referring to as radical, Christy used the word earlier, radical neighborliness, where we've been looking across the street at all the palatial things that go on there with some inmates that are cleaning up the property. And I'm sorry to use that term, but that's what they are, as they are there at the prison, or at the palace. And so we're prayerful that some of these things are going to change down the road a piece. So I want to recognize the name that is in the letter, Faye Beatrice Brown. Call her name. One of the things that we did together with the ACLU was to have a settlement reached where 3,500 individuals were released from prison early, which was a significant gain for us. As such, one of the things that we learned a whole lot about was how cruel and unusual the punishment is to those who are confined in those walls. And we are adamant that we want to see change done here, and we want to see decarceration done. But as we see decarceration done, what we also want to see done is humanization. These people need to be humanized. They've not been recognized, and they need to be. And so we just want to be here to let you all know that we're in solidarity with you. We will be with you during these 58 days. We invite you to join us on Freedom Fridays for our vigil at 5 p.m. Every Friday moving forward from this time. And we thank you all for allowing us to be with you. So forward together and not one step back. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sierra Cobb. I'm the advocate for Emancipate NC. I am here today to stand behind all of the families and the incarcerated. I advocate for people who have been wrongfully convicted, overly sentenced, anybody that is experiencing any type of mistreatment inside of our carceral systems. I'm actually just as involved myself. My husband, Jeffrey Cobb, is currently incarcerated for 25 years on a felony murder simply because he was there. And North Carolina states that being at the wrong place at the wrong time does not mean that you're guilty of the crime that he was guilty of. The shooter only got 17 to 22 years, while my husband had a prior record, so he got more time. So I'm here to stand in solidarity and just to bring awareness that what the carceral state does to the families, how it separates the families from their children, their spouses. It's not easy having to take children to a institution to see their parent or their grandparent or their spouse. It's hard. It's hard to be without, without your loved one and seeing them be mistreated and thrown in solitary confinement. If they quit jobs, they get wrote up for it. I mean, you're being slaved. Literally every day you're being slaved. And if you decide that you don't want to do that job, they will write you up and they will take all of your canteen, your visits, everything. So they just basically every day dehumanize you and make you feel like that you are not a person. And it's sad that they say that everybody that was incarcerated has a less lifetime than they do people on the street because of what you go through. And then when you come back to society, you've been so dehumanized and so institutionalized that you can't even function out. It's just too much every day to get up and go to work and get a job. So I'm here to stand behind all the families that I get calls from that are begging me to help release their son or their daughter or their child. I mean, we in North Carolina are giving children life sentences, babies. Why? Why are we not giving them other resources, community resources? We have to start resourcing our community. That way we won't need prisons, we won't need jails because everybody has what they need. And as we always say, we keep us safe, not the state. The state will never keep us safe. We keep us safe. So I hope that everybody else will continue to stand in solidarity and continue to be on the governor and the DPS about changing a lot of things that other states have already done. They have several laws that they've changed to decarcerate, to change laws so people aren't being overly sentenced or wrongfully convicted. As I always say, it only takes a jury 48 hours to a week to find you guilty, but it can take you 30 to 40 years to prove your innocence. And that should change. So I'm here today to beg the governor to please use your clemency power. There's no excuse why you can't use it. There's no excuse why you're not commuting people. You say that you're progressive and that Black Lives Matter and that things need to change, but it needs to change with you. You need to be the very first person to show that you stand with your community in solidarity to change North Carolina. Thank you, guys.
How's everybody doing? My name is Daquan Peters. I'm from Vigil, North Carolina. I work for Forward Justice and as an employee for Justice, I am the Nevada County Secretary of the Hospital. So what we do is we strive to remove the barriers that people face when returning back to society from incarceration. Me, myself, I've been through the system, the innings and violence of this system for 25 years of that. And just been home 2 years now from the federal bureau prison. And stand in solidarity against the total destruction and dismantling of the whole incarceration system. There's no aspect that you can think that's better than that, because all of it is injustice, and all of it is served on us. And when I think about some of the things like said, like North Carolina, incarcerate more people than any country other than the United States of America. I don't think people that actually resonated in a lot of people's mind. And on top of that, over 50% of those that are incarcerated are black men. So when I go to think about that event and me knowing that North Carolina is a conservative state, then I have to come up with the fact that we're still dealing with a lot of people that possess white supremacist mentality and that Jim Crow mentality. You know, and if you look at the parallels of the Jim Crow era, as our sister Michelle Alexander so elegantly put in her book, Jim Crow, you show the parallels of the new Jim Crow and the incarceration system, as well as slavery as well. Look at the black folks, look at the white people back then, and look at the scared to get outside government mansion, asking the white people the same exact thing. So it must be a radicalized approach, as Christy said. But I don't want to be a radicalized neighbor. You know, I don't want to be their neighbor because they don't love their neighbor. You know, I don't want to be there. I love being the opposition when it comes to the system that's been put in place and set by design just to eradicate that system because of who I am. So as a black man, I'm going to stand in solidarity against this whole system for just that reason alone. Because I stand for freedom, justice, and equality. I stand for justice because just I see equality is done is what's going to bring about freedom to our people. But we got to stand in solidarity with freedom going with those who don't understand the severity of the laws that's being enacted and implemented upon us as a people. And you already got the data to show and prove that 50% of the population and the African American has shown and proved that it's a design for a specific reason to keep legal slavery continue to be which I feel should be abolished in the South. Once you become convicted of a crime, you become a legal slave in the state of North Carolina. Or in the state of the whole United States of America. You got people over here that's incarcerated, that's working at the governor's mansion, making 70 cents a day. And they working 8 hours a day. 70 cents a day. What would you call that? Slave labor. That's slave labor. Under the 13th Amendment, that's legal. So what I'm standing in solidarity is to dismantle the whole system. And just because I don't want to say criminal justice system, I'm going to say the criminal legal system because they're the places that you can't have one without the other. And let the people stand on what they say. And not caring about the repercussions and consequences that come behind it. Because you done done everything you can do to me. You done drugged me through the system. I done been through every worst abuse and punishment that anything, and you can't even fathom in your mind the treatment that people incarcerated get. No matter how much they tell the public, where we do this, we do that, and then they know when somebody gonna come through and do a walkthrough to make sure this is clean and that's clean. They know beforehand. So they'll get the dorms and stuff clean for that hour to walk through, but once the people leave, it's right back to the filthiness and the nastiness of being treated and called boy and inmate and this, that, and third. You can't expect one person to do it if you ain't affiliated. But I'm staying in solidarity. I'm going to continue to take my time. People understand. Just think about it. North Carolina incarcerates more people than any country. 50% of those people are black men. Just think about that. Think about that and tell me where you stand. What side of the spectrum you stand? Who you stand in solidarity? Who you stand in solidarity? The man got a sign right here that says there comes a time where silence is betrayal. So if you don't understand that by you continuously sit back and be silent, you betraying those that standing here in solidarity for those that can't stand for themselves. Peace and blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's you.
Oh, so it's me? My name is Muffin. I'm the director of the North Carolina Community Bail Fund of Durham, which is actually across the state of North Carolina that we bail folks out. But I stand in solidarity with my sisters and brothers who are behind the wall. The word inmate is very dehumanizing. When I was in jail, that's what they call you as opposed to calling you by your name. So I say incarcerated individuals. Even if I'm reading it, if that word is there, it's going to be replaced with incarcerated individuals and formerly incarcerated. That's why I'm part of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. And we're out here because we know and we appreciate that Governor Cooper gave 6 pardons, but he could have done more, right? And even if he had done 1,000, I'll still be standing here today saying he could do more. So until he does more, we will be standing out here, and we will continue to push him to be a better governor than what he is right now. And what else? Yeah, Roy, you got the power. He ain't over there right now because he just left, but he gonna see us. He saw us last year for them 58 days. He stopped coming out this gate after a while, though. Oh yeah, Governor Cooper, we want our donuts, because when we was out here last year, when we said that we wanted to do this, and me and Chrissy said we wanted to do a lot of other things because we really and truly believe in freedom all, we got a lot of pushback from folks saying, that's too much. We don't want to do that. Incarceration is not pretty. We're not here to be pretty. We're not here to be cute. We want to see our people free. And my liberation is tied to their liberation. Until they're liberated free, I'm not free. Because my mind continues to wander every day of how can I get my sisters and brothers free. And so Christy was invited to be in the governor's garden, even though we were out here and they kept calling the police on us every day for 58 days. But she was invited to the governor's mansion. So that goes to show you that even though we do radical displays of love, we also do, what y'all call it? Renegade action? Renegade advocacy. Renegade advocacy. It actually does do something. They see us, they hear us, they know we here, they know we're not going nowhere, and it does get a response. And when they give us a negative response, that doesn't shut us down. We still continue to keep pushing forward and go even harder, and guess what? That moves them to action. So when your action makes them react and do something positive and something good, then that's what we're here for. We're here to see a change. Releasing 32 folks, that was good. But it's not good enough because we can release 30,000 folks, right? So we're ready for you to release those 30,000 folks, Governor Cooper. But we also need the resources that come home with them so they'll have some place to go, some funds and things like that to be able to make sure that whatever life decision got them there, they don't have to continue to make those decisions to return there.
Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel Bose. I'm at the ACLU of North Carolina. I would just follow up with what Daquan said, that this is not a normal policy debate. This is a human rights disaster that is happening right in front of us, and no elected officials are really doing anything about it. There's this image of action, but at the end of the day, it's violent inaction. And so what I'm so excited about is that when I look out over the people who are here, I know how each one of you are fighting against the system. As the world is ready to move on, go back to normality, you are not willing to let it. And so there is a great strength in this coalition. And so I want to thank you all for all the sacrifices you've made, how vulnerable you are every day, and what you do for others. And as urgent as this struggle is, as Christy said, it's also a time for celebration. not only is the Dignity Act going into effect today, but the last part of the Second Chance Act also goes into effect today. The part that says that when charges are dismissed, they'll be automatically expunged. And so as much as impossible as the odds are, what we know is that policy matters. We have experiences, barriers, talking, going and talking to legislators, it makes a huge difference. And so, thank you for that. People are doing it every day. The other thing I'm excited about with this vigil is the community that we build. Taking space and standing in solidarity with those who cannot stand free. And so, thank you for that. We'll be here the whole month of December. Let me hand this over to Patrick O'Neill. Patrick, in case you didn't know, did the most laps around the governor's mansion last year of anybody. Him and Representative Harrison, I think between them had about 300 laps. And so what we're doing this year, a new aspect of the vigil, is even more robust version of what we're calling the Relay for Release and Decarceration. Because again, as the world is trying to move on, we're trying to give energy to the urgency of these issues. And so that's a physical manifestation that actually circled the governor's mansion. We have a website, decarceratenownc.com, and on that website, we're going to track how many laps we're able to do as a coalition. Our goal is to do 3,000. So that's 1 for every 10 people who are incarcerated in state prisons today. And so again, Patrick, I hope you'll take us in our inaugural lap of the governor's mansion. But this is something that you can come out and do at any time over the next 32 days. And we need you to, because 3,000 is not a small number. But we thought it was important to have a huge goal like that, and I'm confident that we can actually succeed. Patrick?
It's wonderful to be here. It's said that we have to be here. I just finished up an 8-month federal prison sentence myself, so I'm fresh out of being part of this incarcerated world. I want to say that my mother, and this is what I would tell a lot of my black brothers who were locked up with me at Federal Correctional Institution, Elkton, in Northeast Ohio, were in prison for drugs. And what I always told people was my mother had 2 lethal drugs of choice, alcohol and tobacco. They killed her at the age of 62. And my mother could buy her lethal drugs of choice at the 7-Eleven. I was locked up literally, and I've spent time in 6 federal prisons over the course of the last 35 years. But I've been locked up with thousands of people, most of them African American, who are serving time because they sold lethal drugs. And we obviously have this insane double standard in our culture that has deep, deep roots in racism, that says the 2 worst lethal drugs we have, alcohol and tobacco, you can buy over the counter. But if you sell certain lethal drugs, you can spend years of your life, 15, 20, 25, that's the kind of time I was in with guys that they got. Racism is so transparent when it comes to the carceral system. We don't have to make stuff up. Everybody who spoke today knows the deal. We know the deal, right? And I've had a little bit of an opportunity to see it from the inside, and the time much longer than me. But the point is, let's take it, for example, North Carolina, the death penalty. Troy Cooper, as Attorney General, enforced. People died when he was an Attorney General. People were executed. In North Carolina, right down in Central Prison, there were 405 executions. On the death certificate, someone who's executed says cause of death, homicide. So there's truth in that. Since the death penalty started in 1903, I think it is, there have been 405 executions. 299, or 74% of those executions have been of black men. How is it possible that a crime that is supposedly, a criminal charge that says it's reserved for the worst of the worst, resulted in 74% of African American men being either electrocuted, asphyxiated with gas, or now lethally injected? There's no way to explain that, except that the truth is that when lynching became an embarrassment to the South, what Southern states did was just allow the prison system to take over lynching and make it legal. And that's exactly what it is. It hasn't changed one iota. I'm happy to be here to resist this governor. Cooper's hands are he's got blood on his hands, he's got rust on his soul. We're here to liberate that man. We're here to liberate that man from the sins that he has committed while he has been a politician in this state. And my children went to school at Explorer School with his daughters. So I've seen a lot of them over the years. But we need to liberate him. And, my belief is that, and I don't know if it was Muffin who said it, but the system's unredeemable. When you hear this stuff about people saying, oh, we need better training for the police, we need to reform the prisons, and we need to make them be rehabilitative, people are just talking, they're blowing hot air. These systems can't be changed and rehabilitated. They have to be abolished. Like my shirt says. We have to abolish a racist, unjust system that warehouses our brothers and sisters. At women's prison, the largest population of prisoners is at women's prison, of all prisons in the state. More than 90% of the women there are mothers. What about their children? Who's caring for the children of all those women who frequently are single mothers and then incarcerated? I mean, how is it possible that we think that's just? So we create this system that's completely and totally unjust. It has to be abolished. And for me, I go to prison for a lot of anti-war work. And I pointed out in this Zoom call recently, the Federal Bureau of Prisons has 122 prisons. Their annual budget is almost $8 billion. The Pentagon, in 1 year, has an annual budget 100 times as big as the Bureau of Prisons. This year, our military budget to support war and killing is going to be almost $800 billion. Somehow we've come to the conclusion in this country, and I don't know who it was that came up with this conclusion, is that we need people with guns to keep us free, to keep us safe. We believe that violence is a solution. The solution is love. The solution is love. Several of you have already said it today. Comes from the heart. The solution is love. Love is the only rational act, as Morris Schwartz said. But what we have to do is we have to figure out ways to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. Thank you. And we'll make that 3,000 left.
I'm publicly saying I'm going to do lots of laps with you, Patrick. I'm going to lose a couple pounds. I'm going to do them virtual. You want a virtual lap? Yeah. Well, everyone, thank you so much. Hey, our brother, we see you. We love you. Free our brothers. Free our people. Let our people go. He over there cutting that grass for 7 cents. Let him go. Let him go. Free him. So, y'all, thank y'all so much. This is what we do. We come out, we make a lot of noise, but we also stand in solidarity and show radical love to incarcerated people and their families, because lots of us know what it felt like to be adopted, to be abandoned, to survive the belly of the beast. It's not something that everyone should have to do, but every one of us that has done it have been forever changed. Some of us in good ways and some of us in permanently bad ways. The way that it permanently changed me is that I will always fight for freedom, because I recognize that it's not free. It costs so much to be free, especially if you are black. And if you are a black woman, I know we talked a lot about the incarceration of black men today. but women are forgotten about inside of carceral spaces. They are treated as ad hoc add-ons. So you're here, we don't have nothing for you, but you're here, you're going to exist with what we got. And that type of treatment is a different type of treatment, but it's the same impact, which is the dehumanization and the disconnection and the disappearance of people's humanity. Not their own humanity, but our collective humanity is disappearing as long as we allow people to languish inside of prisons, to languish inside of cages for perceived harm. As you heard Patrick say, we're willing to spend a lot of money to be violent towards others. But when that violence is within our own constructs, especially if those people look like me or are darker, and we tend to have a special system just for them to disconnect and disappear and silence them. Our fight for liberty is a long, arduous fight. We know that we will be doing this vigil for the rest of our lives. It started last year, but we know that we will be here until the end of time. Because white supremacy is such that it's so rampant and so strong. If you hear me talk, you hear me say all the time that white supremacy is always working to maintain homeostasis and regain equilibrium. So for every win that we have, for the 5 or 6 people who we are able to get free, there are 60 more who are going into that prison today. And their experiences are going to continue to break our hearts, and hopefully we become so heartbroken that we do something different. Because I know that's what they told me when I was out here wilding out, that pain was the greatest motivator for change. And when pain became great enough, I did something different. And I did do something different. When they told me I was doing a lot of time, I was thinking, oof, gotta do something different. And I did something different, right? And so, like, as a society, what does our pain have to be in order for us to change? Is it not painful enough watching this man over who cut this grass and a home built by slaves, currently maintained by slaves? Because just because you call them an inmate or a prisoner does not change the conditions of their existence. They are slaves, and they are enslaved, and we are comfortable. We have gotten no farther than 1865 because we are still just as radically comfortable with the subjugation of black and brown bodies in this country as we were in 1700. And vagrancy laws, loitering laws, the black code that Daquan talks about, those things still exist today. White people still think that they have the authority to ask you, do you belong in space? Today, that happens today, every day to black people. And so it's not just about challenging the conditions of incarceration inside of jails and prisons. What are the conditions of incarceration that you have inside of you that you carry every single day? It is confronting the carceral state that you have in your mind that resides in your body. So thank you for your solidarity. Continue to reflect. Continue to respond to the calls to action. And continue to show up every single day. And promise to do better tomorrow than you did today. And understand that nobody is perfect. Nobody gets it right. We are glad that you are here. You may hear some uncomfortable truths while you are here, but you will hear uncomfortable truths while you are here, right? We're not going to sugarcoat our messaging because, as Muffin said, prison is not sugarcoated, being inside of the cage is not sugarcoated, racism isn't sugarcoated, so we're not going to sugarcoat and prioritize your comfort or your feelings. We are going to tell the truth while we are out here because that radical truth and that radical display of love is how we get people free. The truth really does set us free. Thank you for coming. See you all every day for the next 32 days.
We need 20 people to walk 5 laps around the mansion a day to reach our goal of 3,000. So
20 people,
it's a very achievable goal. It's only a little bit more than a mile to walk those 5 laps.
Well, no, I'm going to take it around
Let's
for the
get
lap.
together.
Do you want to talk while it's on there? Show a little bit of you? And
Yeah, I probably will.
you got the, well, you know how to do it, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hey. There he goes. Yeah.
Guys, you guys want to let's do a ceremonial lap together, okay? Why don't we all go over and walk one lap together now?
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Everybody come on and walk around.
Oh, watch out.
And make sure that you log all of your laps online so we can keep a running total.
Yep. Hey, Ann.
Hey, walking our lap.
How were the oral arguments?
Devastating bad atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof, for 15 weeks. Oof. Oof.
Are you live on Facebook?
Yeah, I am. Yes.
That's the only reason I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Leave it to the states. Viability is meaningless.
Wow. Well, thank y'all for coming out after that. That's
It took us an hour to decompress. I'm serious. I think we should work on the ship. Kind of far, like it's not that far.
I bet y'all that Patrick's gonna end up doing 300 laps. That's my guess. Easy. It might be more.
What points?
I know, exactly. I was like 0.7. Oh, okay. I was like 0.7.
All right, looking good coming up that hill.
Find out. Did you start at the beginning? I did. I started on one corner. This corner. This corner right here.
But then one of the things that was running through my mind the criminality of what we are rewarding in society and what the taxes are being spent for. Like, you know,
How are you?
for example, there's about $100 million
Actually, it's cold. Really? Yeah.
paid to Raytheon Corporation to build a company for your assets.
Right.
Another guy you're rewarding mass murderers. I mean, there's more profiteers who.
That's what I'm saying. It's like our money is not. They're not where they need to be, where it needs to be.
And I think it's some righteous fury about the big system is rigged. the average person who isn't immersed in some of these, you know, who has a aware of injustices correctly resolved it or caught up in regard to is that juxtaposed that.
Robert didn't get in there getting drunk on moonshine and damn true.
Oh, yeah.
She said, "I need some bourbon." He might get some
Oh,
more.
that's what they were doing at that. So it was the opposite direction. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
It's got too many lights on now. That's the little porch I was talking to him on.
Yeah. It's a nice porch.
Very nice. Look at all them Christmas flowers they got.
Yeah.
This is a pretty nice December, though, I must say.
Yeah.
It's much milder than last year.
Yeah. At 10 a.m. I was like, dang, it's going to be a nice day. Sun came out. Yeah.
And here's Sergeant Arms inside of the GA.
Yeah. Did he have a sign or you recognized him?
I see. Yeah, I know. I saw his face. You know, they be standing guard, like, you know.
Yeah. Like the bailiffs of the, they ready to tackle somebody.
Right.
They're all like 80 though, so
right. It's like they know parliamentary, what is it called? Parliamentary procedure. And they be waiting on you to like step outside of that. I would have been Sergeant Arms. That's what we're saying. You know how people be rolling out of order, and the Sergeant Arms be trying to pull people back in. I know. You gotta know the rules though. That's I need somebody to actually know, because that's the whole point. Like knowing them enough to how to screw somebody.
Exactly.
Or how to not. Or knowing when to get up anxious because this is the last shot versus now I got about 5 more times for this is serious.
I mean, how about that's thing? I mean, we can talk about it more. But like, you know, the session ending. Yeah. I mean, that was a 560 didn't go. Like that's a huge deal.
Okay.
The driver's license bill got to the very end, but did not pass, so that now it can be amended to actually be a good bill. And immigrant stuff didn't go, and if it had, it would have been vetoed. So, you know, it was a.
Do we know what we're looking at for the short session?
So that's yeah. I mean, that's the thing is.
We gotta have some deep conversations.
Yes. Yeah.
Planning.
Yes.
Are you still on live?
Yeah, I'm on live. Ha ha ha.